ladies and gentlemen, this is the war room. Well, it's not the war room. It's a small, it's this kid's grandfather's room, office, something like that. It's got a saber in the corner, American flag in the back, a picture of him standing, pretending that Trump Force One is his penis. A hand-carved wooden statue of Ronald McDonald after somebody poured a coffee over his head that was hot, and 2 copies of the Bible, one marked and one fresh, and a lamp he won in competition, and the Titanic, and a picture of someone else. Anyways, okay, so a group of people. So this Garrett Ziegler from the Marco Polo research group is apparently talking about this. He made a 600-page dossier on the Hunter Biden, because that's what you want when all Trump can say about dossiers is that they're fake, and the fraudulent dossier and the dodgy dossier and the fake dossier, that you want to create a dossier so that people get messed up and think that your dossier is fake too, because it is. Walk through the lies to guarantee, 600-page dossier on the Hunter Biden laptop walks through the lies to guarantee Trump's loss in 2020. So, yeah, nobody could guarantee his loss. They could only hope that their October surprise would help him.
I want to bring in now Garrett Ziegler. He was in the...
Yes. Garrett, by the way, for those of you that don't know, is responsible for cleaning Steve's undercarriage, which means it's dirty.
Trump, a White House, actually, he was over with Peter Navarro. These guys were grinding. One thing about the Navarro...
Really? Who was on top?
Shop, as we called it. They worked 7 days a week for 4 years. Peter...
Crazy. People work that many hours in the White House? That's nuts. Even Trump didn't do that. He golfed half the time.
Navarro was in that place every day. Ziegler, all these guys grinding out to protect working class.
Oh, he said defect. Create defects.
Class Americans. Garrett, thank you very much. You're head of Marco Polo Research now. I want to tee it up. We got about 3 minutes in this segment. I want to just toss the ball to you. Then I'm going to...
Yeah, get us through this, because nobody knows what
bring
the fuck
you
you're doing.
Back after the break.
Have you been working for 7 days a week, or are you getting some rest?
And of course, our own Natalie Winters. This is a 600-page report you did? You literally took the laptop or the whole Hunter Biden situation and kind of broke
the whole Hunter Biden situation. Not so much the laptop, because it doesn't exist.
It down and did really a compilation of research on this. Walk us through what this report is, and then start walking us through the report.
So we developed a nonprofit to do this report, and basically it's a
Yeah. Who's funding the nonprofit?
Comprehensive dossier on the device. There's about a half a dozen to a dozen exclusives in it for reporters, but mostly it is a sort of a historical document to take someone through the suppression operation, the letter by the former spooks, and all of
spooks. Spooks, by the way, is sort of a pet name for former CIA guys. Spooks.
The crimes on the device. We have a small subsection. I've been watching your show the last couple of days. We have a small subsection on pure degeneracy, but that's
yes. That's just the picture. It's like a centerfold in the middle.
In notes, and that's only about 30 pages.
Yeah, because nobody cares.
The vast majority of the report is crimes, business-related crimes, sex-related crimes, and drug-related crimes.
Well, let's hear it. Well, so the sex-related crimes and the drug-related crimes aren't in pure degeneracy. And by the way, are we talking about like he paid for hookers? We know. We're talking about he did drugs? We know. And I guarantee that's 450 of the pages.
There's a lot of people out there who see the ridiculous, embarrassing photos of Hunter and don't realize that he committed the exact same crimes that they got Paul Manafort for.
No. You mean that he's talking about tax crimes? No, those, by the way, those are the ones that Trump pardoned him for.
FARA violations. It was his business model. And so with 2 private investigators, an attorney, an accountant, and a digital forensics person.
Yes. And who played Marianne?
Put together this 630-page tome. And basically, it is what we think let's put it this way.
Yes, back up. Explain it to us.
There hasn't been one left-wing debunking of the report yet. We've got to...
I haven't even seen it, fuckhead. Give me one. Give me a copy of it. I'm glad to do
about 20 to 20.
Yeah. This is the amazing...
Yeah, Biden laptop report PDF. All right, let's go. Hold on one second. Ladies and gentlemen, Hold on. I'm going to grab it on my iPad because I'm going to have to download it on here. 1 second. Go in here. Let's see. Marco Polo. Polo Biden report. Something like that. Should show up, right? Biden laptop report deep dive with Marco Polo. Blah, blah. That's YouTube. That's a clip. It's a members only clip from Watching the Watchers. Where's their Biden laptop report? Marco Polo. Oh, here we go. MarcoPolo.org. This is it. Da-da-da. Here's the PDF. Download that. That's a big PDF. It's going to take me a little while. Let's check it out. I'm waiting. All right. Well, I'll just let that go until it shows up. I'll let you guys know. Super exciting.
Thing. You guys put it out there a couple of months ago now, as I remember correctly, right? And
October 19th. Yep, over a month.
October.
A whole month, and it's set the news world on fire.
Over a month, and the mainstream media immediately, because it had been shoddy, and we know your level of detail that you get into. If it had been shoddy, they would have been all over ripping because it's
Mo crack, mo problems, a devastating op-ed from Maureen Dowd.
600
Jesus
pages.
Christ.
Clearly going to make some
So fucking what?
mistakes. They went crickets on it. That's when you know you got something.
Rocks, cocks, and fake glocks, a phallic tale of idiocy, an orgy with Daphne Guinness, and Joe thinks I'm a god. Transcript.
Walk me through. We're going to go to break, but just walk me through the
Biden
team
laptop
again.
emails.
Because
Rex,
CBS is...
like, there's a lot of, like, it's just basically a hit piece at the tail end if you're adding those kind of things. But, well, I'm downloading the report.
Catherine Herridge is running around. She got the knitted brow, and she's got, walk me through your team that went through this, sir.
Yeah, that was a pretty pathetic limited hangout she did. I reached out to her in January, and she didn't want to work with us, and I offered to not put my name into it, right? Because she didn't want to be working with a former Trump official. So I am a young.
Well, I would have several questions about your time working in the White House before you would decide whether you'd work with him. Like, were you there when he chucked ketchup? Did you hear what was your feelings on the Access Hollywood tape when you first heard it in terms of degeneracy?
Guy, and I knew that there was.
Did you ever see him consume stimulants of any kind? Did anybody there speak of his use of stimulants around you?
There's a lot in this laptop, including the secret alias email address that Joe used. And I know you know about this, but for all your listeners, there was an email address, robert.l.peters@pci.gov, that Joe Biden used. Literally the exact same thing that Hillary did, except this one wasn't.
Hillary. Because the Clintons have a body count. Or because she beat Trump in the popular vote.
Stored in a server in a closet. This was actually set up by the government, and we go into this in the report. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because
if it's set up by the government on purpose, again, this is like they're legally flying people in from Mexico who are legally immigrating to the United States.
Because,
I tell you, Gary, hang on. We're going to take a commercial.
Yeah, take a break because we have to figure out what the fuck you're talking about. By the way, 600-page report right now. The only detail we've heard is that Biden had a legal alias email address that he supposedly used.
Okay. I want to go back to Garrett. Garrett, so it's 600 pages. I just want to make sure people understand this. This is totally free. You've got it up online, and people can access this.
Yep. Just go to marcopolousa.org. It's been online since October 19th. And we are printing physical copies, but that's going to come later this month. And, just before we go on to the report again, I wanted to say that, I have a little bit of a different take of why the mainstream press and the former spooks had such a Pavlovian dog-like response to this story. Because I think they're terrified that they're going to be implicated in it. Because it's not just about Hunter and Joe, although those are the two main actors. It's really a universe of grifters and hangers-on.
Okay, so what they're saying is that there's a bunch of other people in this that have nothing to do with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, and they need to paint a larger picture of corruption because there's no there.
And, we put up this site, BidenLaptopEmails.com, Steve. There's 129,000 emails on there. People were searching for their name. We went into the server and found that a state legislator in California was looking to see if she had emails on this laptop. So I think this whole universe of lobbyists and...
So, by the way, they're looking at keystrokes of people who look on their site. They're basically using it as bait. Also, I question that they don't have modified emails on there. That there are like half real emails, and I don't mean half of them are real and half of them are fake. I mean part of the email is real, and then they add stuff to it or add false responses and all that kind of stuff, and then copy it upon copy it upon copy it. Then it doesn't matter. The chain doesn't matter. All the email addresses were still real because they borrowed them from other places.
Influence peddlers are worried that looking into this laptop is going to reveal their schemes and their grifts. That's why there's such a
background timeline. The four families, business-related crimes, subpoena 2019, suspicious activity reports, China, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Romania, Mexico, Serbia, Libya, unreported income and gifts, backdating financial documents, United States v. Galanis et al., sex, prostitution, human trafficking, non-consensual pornography in the family. That's weird. All right, drug-related, those are two separate things, but they're meant to make it look like they're not. Distributing in possession, operating a motor vehicle. This is all like while he was fucking high, like addict shit.
Such a response.
You've hit the main point of this. This investigation, when it starts and it's public, and it's going to take a while to get it all organized, but the hearings with Bob Linsky, it's not simply about the Bidens.
It can't be, because they didn't do anything, because none of it went anywhere. And it has to be about Bob Linsky because he's the one who was shopping access to Joe Biden. And he would bring it to Hunter, and he's like, hey, we'll do it this way, and we'll cut your dad in, and what do you think? And then that's in the emails of what they were going to give or offer, and then it doesn't happen. But because Bob Linsky offered 10% for the big guy, now that's Hunter asking for it.
It is, and their criminality, and Garrett can walk you through chapter and verse, and Natalie.
Why aren't they then?
But it's also going to say this, when people talk this cute phrase, the swamp, this is the thing itself. This is kind of the ether of it. You're going to get to see it all, and here's what you're going to see. They're selling you out, and these are the national security, they're selling you out every day to the Chinese Communist Party. You're being...
Again, there is nothing that points to the fact that points to even the implication that Biden is somehow owing something to the Chinese, because we have never been more anti-China on trade or military than we are right now. Not ever.
Sold out now. There's Ukraine and some other thing, but they're selling you out to an existential threat in this country. And the reporter said the other day,
how? How are they selling us out?
What isn't this? Isn't this about 2017? Well, hey, a lot of it's going to be and should be about when the guy was a sitting vice president and in charge of the pivot to Asia. A lot of what you're going to see in this report is when
he was set to the meetings and stuff because nobody else wanted to fucking do it. He wasn't doing it alone.
Obama designated him to be the front man and to negotiate with Xi. That's why Xi's his buddy. That's why you see him rubbing up on Xi all the time with the big hand, and they're all good. They're good together.
Are you kidding me? You're kidding, right? Hold the fucking phone. Look at this, just buddies. Just, hey, what's happening there? Yeah, how you doing? Shoulder to shoulder. Look at that, just how happy as clams, just glad to be there. Aw, do you take this orange monkey to be your lawfully wedded? Yeah, sure. Can we shake? Get a picture of us shaking. Love you. There you go. Little tap on the lower back. That's sweet. Yeah, gotta show my swagger. Gotta swagger it out. Gotta swagger it out. How about this? How about when, oh, it's lovely. They hosted a welcome ceremony for the president and the first lady. Look at them hanging out. They're all great. This is wonderful. Look, they're just hanging out. After you. No, this is great. And the band plays and it's just sweet and everything. Little did we know that only a year later, Donald Trump would oversee the greatest bioweapon attack in American history and would respond to the Chinese attack by selling them beef. Should we do the, hold on one second. Let me grab this while we're at it. Look at how close they are. It's so sweet. And then, let's see. 1 second. Whoops. This is why they keep saying it's the whole thing. It's not, it's like, it's the swamp. Let's see. Let's see. Here you go. Here's one. 1 second.
Briefed on any of that?
Well, I have, and we do. And nobody was focused on 5G, but now they are.
You been briefed on any of that?
Well, I have, and
Beijing and China.
you know, I know President Xi. We're working on trade deals right now. We'll see what happens. Meantime, they're paying us billions and billions of dollars of tariffs, which is fine with me. But I know that they're working. I know that's a very important situation for President Xi. And, you know,
He's talking about Hong Kong.
you could say what you said, but you could also say that he has allowed that to go on for a long time, and you know, it's been relatively, I think it's been relatively nonviolent.
Yes, Hong Kong was relatively nonviolent until they had to be to try and stop Xi from instigating communist rule of the entire place.
Do you believe the protesters should be allowed to protest on the streets in Hong Kong, as they've been
Well,
doing?
they are. I mean, they are. I don't think
No, they aren't.
China stopped them. China could stop them if they wanted. I think that, again, I'm not involved in it very much, but I think President Xi of China has acted responsibly, very responsibly. They've been out there protesting for a long time. I've never seen protests like it where you have that many people. It looks like 2 million people. Those are big protests. But I think that I hope that President Xi will do the right thing. But it has been going on a long time. There's no question about it.
Yeah, just tired of it. You know, just that just happens. How about this?
China is likely to do away with presidential term limits soon, and President Donald Trump suggested he'd like to see something similar here in the U.S., according to audio obtained by CNN.
He's now president for life. President for life. No, he's great. Hey, look, he was able to do that. I think it's great. Maybe we'll have to give that a shot someday.
Trump does have a history of admiring.
Okay, so there's maybe we should give that a shot sometime. Let's see. That's the him saying Putin's sharp.
We use political hacks to make deals with China. And then we lose almost $500 billion a year with China. And we want to know what's wrong with it.
By the way, we don't lose $500 billion a year with China. We have a trade surplus with them that way because we buy a lot of cheap things from them, mark up the price, or have them manufacture stuff, mark up the price, and then sell them to the rest of the world and make profit off of it. Like, ask Amazon drop shippers the fortunes that they have made over the years using China, using stuff off of Alibaba to do that. Like, this fucking dude, no idea.
What's wrong?
Nothing. We buy cheap stuff from them. We turn $500 billion worth of stuff we buy from them into $6 trillion. That's why.
With us is we have people that don't know what they're doing, making deals with some of the smartest people in the world. They use their smartest, toughest, meanest people. We use dumb people. We use hacks.
By the way, keep in mind, this guy formed a 3-phase deal with China during COVID, during the beginning few months of COVID. He was negotiating it. He managed to get one part of it signed. The Chinese only lived up to a third of 1/3 of the overall deal. It was $30 billion. They did $11 billion worth of food, which they need to buy anyways. China imports 85% of their food, 80% of their energy. They need the food, and still he wasn't even able to sell. He couldn't sell water to a person in the desert.
I've done a lot of business with China.
We know.
I think China's great.
There you go. Why isn't that a drop? I'm sorry, you said what now?
I've done a lot of business with China. I think China's great. I've done great. I've made a lot of money with China.
Oh, yeah?
I have their bank, the biggest bank in the world from China is my tenant. I sell condos. I have the Bank America building in San Francisco, another big building in Manhattan that I got through China.
Oh, you what now?
In San Francisco, another big building in Manhattan that I got through China. I mean, China.
The fuck does that mean? You got a big building in Manhattan through China?
San Francisco, another big building in Manhattan that I got through China.
Huh.
San Francisco, another big building in Manhattan that I got through China.
Through China. Uh-huh.
I mean, China's great, but I don't hold it against China. I hold it against the stupidity of our leadership to allow China to get away with this.
Yeah, they should have arrested you for your foreign deals through China years ago, I guess. That's the idea? Holy shit. By the way, you can tell this is from 2015, 2016, because that woman's wearing a Trump-Pence shirt. Those are Trump-Pence signs. That's way back in the day. What else? Let's see. How about this? Squawk Box shirt.
Look, we are the largest economy by far in the world. When I became president, we were heading to be the second largest. China was going to overtake us. Not going to happen. Not going to happen anytime, I'll tell you, when I'm here. Can't happen. We've picked up $20 trillion in worth, and China has lost 20, 25, $30 trillion in worth. We're now almost double the size of the economy. If I hadn't won, our economy now would have been overtaken by China. And all these clowns.
By the way, no, like literally this is happening regardless of who's in the White House.
That are sitting on television.
Negotiating our way to get like companies and trade out of China and give that a soft landing, which is what Biden's calling it. Moving that stuff out before the whole place fucking collapses. That's the only leadership aspect, not the whether or not or the big if.
That have been running this government for many years, that have been taken to the cleaners by China. They're all sitting there saying, well, I don't think the president is negotiating properly. They don't know what they're talking about. I have great respect for the fact that China called, they want to make a deal. I have great respect. And I have great respect for President Xi. And I think we're going to have a deal. Because now we're dealing on proper terms. They understand and we understand. But that's a great thing that happened. And they want to get something done. Now, maybe it won't get done, but this is the first time I've seen them where they really do want to make a deal. And I think that's a very positive step.
By the way, the deal was bullshit. It was always bullshit. It was always just bait for his fucking ego. There's Kim Jong-un. Yeah, there's okay, that's their hangout. All right, there you go. Now, here we go. Oh, by the way, remember when Ivanka had her daughter sing in Mandarin Chinese? Which, by the way, would have been lovely if they'd done that in Taiwan, too. Okay, here we go. Back to this.
And they're going to make things right? It's 100%. Walk me through, when you say crimes.
Yeah, tell us a crime. A crime. Give us one crime.
That's a pretty, not just corruption and grift. When you say crimes, let's leave the personal fallibility of his sexual perversion aside.
Right, because none of it can compare with anything that Steve Bannon's ever done. He used to hang out with Paul Manafort.
Let's just talk about the financial crimes that you guys have uncovered.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It is.
We put 100 pages just to influence peddling, which means these things are gross, they're corrupt, but we couldn't find a statute that they violated. So by crimes, I mean literally for 13 months, we went through the U.S. code and block by block. So, for example, a lion's share of the federal felonies that Hunter and his business associates committed, because he wasn't smart enough to put together these deals, he just made the intros, was FARA violations, Foreign Agent Registration Act, which your viewers know of, but some people may not. And Hunter committed over 24 of those in 6 different countries, meaning principals from 6 different countries. Tax evasion, and because of the FARA violation.
Yeah, that's not what he's asking about, man. He needs to know about $1.5 billion coming out of China that went into some giant Putin-esque lake property in fucking Papua New Guinea.
Money laundering. You know well the $1 million retainer that he received from Patrick Ho. Hunter didn't spend a day in court. All he did was introduce Ho to white shoe attorneys at Edward Krieger and Kimmon.
And did that help him? Was it $1 million well spent? Who gives a fuck?
In Manhattan. And so,
again, why is that a crime? If I don't look, I don't like. There's one of the emails that floats around about Patrick Ho where Hunter sort of wakes up to the fact that this guy's sketchy as fuck. And he's like, I can't believe we got into a deal with this guy. He's like the top spy in China. I'm worried he's dead now and they might come after other people. This is fucked up. And that in and of itself is like a realization when somebody realized they've been on the sucker side of something. But even still, this guy, while he's your client, saying, can you introduce me to the kind of lawyers that will, I'm going to retain you, go lawyer hunting for me in the States. That's not representing a foreign government. That's just getting that guy a lawyer. Still not a crime. Like, this is fucking lazy shit.
The standard for inclusion in this report is two separate pieces of evidence, because we know that Jimmy Biden and Joe love to say that they have plausible deniability in something. So if we just included one, they could always say, well, Garrett, you're interpreting this wrong. I really meant to say this. And they always talk in code. They always use initials. They always use aliases. And so every time we see that there was a crime or a regulation violated, we have two pieces of evidence. So, for example, the crime on the screen right there. This is what Jack Maxey. He didn't help me. He actually hates me. But
Jack Maxey, by the way, is the guy who shopped the hard drive around that McIsaac dropped off with Rudy Giuliani, and Rudy Giuliani and Jack Maxey added files to it.
But one thing
Jack Maxey is specifically why it wouldn't pass muster in a court of law.
Has done good is talked about the backdating of the financial documents. These are SEC documents that Eric Schwerin and Joe, along with their now deceased, conveniently, accountant Bill Morgan.
Oh, I see. So they murdered him.
They conspired to backdate the documents that their broker-dealer RSPI submitted to FINRA and the SEC. Most people would go to the pen for this or pay severe civil fines. How Eric Schwerin has not been indicted yet is beyond me. And this report is basically trying to put David Weiss and all of these prosecutors at the District of Delaware in a corner to say, if you give Hunter a plea deal and slap...
Okay, the separate things. The tax violations come from a wholly separate laptop that he actually gave them, not this fantasy one that showed up at the Delaware repair shop. He actually turned in some of his devices to the FBI there for tax related investigation. And then somehow these things got mixed up with the files from the phony laptop from McIsaac's, and that's mainly through this adjunct fixer dude that Giuliani was hanging around with.
Slap him on the wrist. This is going to be the most pathetic limited hangout in U.S. history.
Okay, so what did we hear there? Apparently they are under the impression, apropos of nothing that I'm aware of right now, but I'll look through this whole book. Believe me, you guys know I will, because I've got, a couple days off and a bunch of airplanes to be on. And I'll mark it up. Oh boy, will I mark it up. But so far we've got alleged FARA violations that are apparently because he was just Joe wasn't involved, but the illusion that he was involved because they're saying he must have because that's his kid, that makes it an automatic FARA violation. If his son does any business overseas or with anybody who does business overseas, then that's because his dad, was vice president previously, that makes it a FARA violation because he's trying to get his dad on board when he isn't, without any proof that he is. Secondarily, the backdating of SEC documents, I would have to check that, but even still, shit like that happens. Like, look at Trump's fucking tax stuff. By the way, we're about to get Trump's taxes. Hence why you're seeing 1,000 pages from Chuck Grassley, why this prick is putting out this 600-page document, why they've got a nonprofit that is extraordinarily profitable, I have no doubt, putting this thing together is because they need something to rebut what's going to be coming out, because literally the order came today that Trump's taxes have to go to Congress. Congress is going to get Trump's taxes. And that's the funny part is that the Republicans who, allegedly are going to take over, we'll see, in January. And by the way, Kevin McCarthy is not going to be the speaker. It's going to be hilarious. He might be the interim speaker, and then they'll avoid even having a vote just to not embarrass him or look like the fucked up mess that they are. But other people will be clamoring like, why does he get to do it? It's going to be a joy to watch. But they need to put this stuff out right now, just like and this is a Steve Bannon thing, flood the zone with bullshit so they don't even know which way is up.
I just want to go before, and we'll have you back on to go through in more detail. But
yeah, who needs detail?
Essentially, the business model. Joe Biden's the asset they got to monetize.
No, that's what Tony Bobulinski kept trying to do, and Hunter kept shutting him down.
Jim Biden, his brother, is kind of the brains to the degree that they're brains in this operation. He's kind of the brains.
Well, one of you has been convicted of something and is going to jail.
And Hunter's the new business guy. He's drinking what the client's drinking. He's just out as kind of the golden retriever to go find things and bring them opportunities and bring them back, of which those guys figure out how to monetize them. Is that essentially the business model?
Yes, and he's the schmoozer. Over a decade of this guy's materials on the laptop, I did not find one Excel document. He can't do a pivot table to save his life. I'm not sure.
That's actually kind of hilarious. It's basically, that's his way of making a slam out of his own lack of evidence.
Hunter can do long division. So he's not doing any work. When I was a boy,
that's why they don't have any crimes against him. Like, they don't have anything to charge him with. Even if this shit wasn't like ruined by the chain of evidence.
That the compensation would be tied to value creation. I've not seen any evidence that Hunter can put together a pitch deck at all. He knows zero about private equity.
He doesn't have to know anything about it. He works with guys who do, and they bank on his name for the money being safe.
He's only part of all these huge private equity funds. Garrett, how do people get to this report? Over the holiday weekend, right? If you watch, after you spend enough quality time with the family, you might want to go on and check this thing out. It's voluminous, yes. It's detailed, it's documented. Where do they go to get this? And if they want to order a physical copy, where do they go?
Thank you, Steve. Yes, it's on marcopolousa.org. You can read a free PDF copy. We are going to be printing physical copies because I
way to cut away from him right as he's showing the physical copy of it, you dicks.
Love to be able to read a physical book. MarcoPoloUSA.org, a wonderful reader view that people can access, all free. We're a charity. We're a 501c3. I'm not sure how Joe's people didn't stop that at the IRS, but we are. And
because they don't try. That's a lie you made up, but nice try. Have you ever thought about going on Gutfeld?
And it's 6 guys and me, and I'm the youngest. The other folks
are just older men covered in oil.
They're phenomenal.
What's your social media?
Just Garrett Ziegler on True Social. It's just Garrett Ziegler, 2 R's, 2 T's. And
okay, Garrett.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say all the social media for our nonprofits on MarcoPoloUSA.org, and people can go there. One last thing, we have an insider, J.P. Morgan, that gave us 5 suspicious activity reports. These are bank documents submitted to the U.S. Treasury Department. We redacted nothing. You'll see wire transfers to Eastern European women. Hunter Biden, this is not a speculation. He literally committed sex trafficking at least 4 times. We can verify, and that's based on the SARS, not my opinion. So that's.
By the way, that they consider hiring an escort or multiple escorts, I presume, to be sex trafficking. For the record, and again, I think there's a distinction between personal use and the actual trafficking of people.
That's pretty incredible stuff.
This is why Comer said sex trafficking the other day, correct? That shocked everybody. Yes. That's why. Okay, fine. I'm gonna have you back on for that. Let's leave the.
Because I think it was because he didn't want Matt Gaetz to be on the committee.
Audience hanging. This is why Comer said and sex trafficking.
Because in deference to Matt Gaetz.
Yep.
Because of that documentation. Garrett, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yikes. Okay, so what did we learn, kids? That according to this guy, the height of criminality in the Biden crime family that they were able to find were alleged FARA violations, which exist in, apropos of nothing other than the fact that Hunter's dad was Joe Biden. Not proof of that stuff. Like, other people shopping influence to you is not your crime. If somebody says they can sell access to you, I mean, people were doing that around Trump. Remember the whole thing about like people shopping pardons? People were selling, a chance to, get a pardon in front of Trump at the tail end of his presidency. Those aren't even crimes, by the way, unless he promised. Those people were saying when they showed up, I'll give you half of what they gave me if you want to pardon this guy. That would make it a crime. But it's not Trump's crime if other people are going, give me 150,000. He returns my calls. That's his thing. That's whoever's making the deal. That's their crime, not the person that they're aiming. The target of that influence, especially if it's not guaranteed. And in all these emails that I've looked through, and it's the same shit that he's talking about. There's never a guarantee in any of it. And it never pans out. Fuck, none of the deals actually happen. There's even a point where when one of the Chinese deals is going through with that energy company, where when they finally get Hunter on the line about it in the emails, he keeps going back and forth going, so is it a private Chinese company? And they're like, no, it's like half Chinese, half CCP. That's how they do things over here. He goes, well, then they have to set up a company in the United States, an American company under American rules, or we can't do business with them. And the deal fell apart because that's how it's supposed to fucking be. Anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. I'm gonna take off because I gotta go pack. I'm flying tomorrow. I won't have a show tomorrow or Thursday. We'll make up the show on Friday, and Philip Bittner will join us then. If that's cool with you guys, then I'll do both shows, morning and afternoon, and try to time them with my kid taking the dogs for a walk, because my dad has dogs and they love to go running. And yeah. And then we'll have radio on Saturday. Don't forget to like and subscribe, support the show in any way that you can. And if you can't, relax. It's all good. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. And remember, most of these arguments, the troll arguments that we see, whether it's the laptop or any number of fucking the groomer nonsense, or the further you look into their charges and the further you look into what they're clamoring about, the more it falls apart. I think some people, both out of an avoidance of wanting to deal with these assholes and at the same time worry that maybe on a slight level that they've got a point and you don't like the idea that they might. So those two things layer up, and a lot of people will avoid addressing some of these things or even looking at what the fuck they're talking about. And I'm here to tell you, as somebody who's stared right into the sun in terms of this bullshit, you got nothing to worry about. You don't. Whoops. Oh, I hit my own button. Beg your pardon. So fear not, and, tread hard on the ground. It lays out before you in a bright path towards a wonderful future. And I will see you guys. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I will check in via social media, no doubt, but I won't be streaming tomorrow or the next day. And hopefully we can make up for the super chats on Friday or Saturday, because I don't get any paid days off. All right. Much love to you guys. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you, Marcus, and thank you, Brian, and thank you, Tobias, our lovely Canadian friend, and all our new subscribers. And Norman, thank you for the gifted subs. Really appreciate that. Let's see, grabbing who I can through here. And thanks, Robert. And by the way, to all the folks that might have wandered over and checked us out on Rumble for the first time, I don't know that there's anybody in there. How many, restart that page? And yeah, one Rumble. Great. But 20 people went over there and peeked. That's good. I'd like to say, hi, I'm here all the time. And now I'm going to be on Rumble all the time. Oh yeah, I'm in your sandbox and I'm acting like a cat, if you know what I'm saying. All right, take care of yourself, take care of somebody else, and I will see you guys in 3 days.